Hey, welcome back to another episode with the KB Money Show. It's your boy KB, and I got my co-host Keon. And hey, man, we're excited. We ready to get into another show. We've been looking forward to this all week. We've been trying to figure out, like, dang, what we gonna talk about?
Yeah.
What will bring value to the people, like just keeping them up to speed with what's going on out here in the economy. Because we know that you got a lot going on in your everyday work life. When you work in your 9 to 5, man, trying to do all this research, we know it's crazy. We wanted to help you out with some of this stuff, right? So here we are again. But before we get into any of that, you always like to do check-ins. So, bro, how was your week, man? How was your week?
My week was pretty good, another week, hard at work, but busting and chasing these deals, making magic happen, and then just another good week with, me and the fiance, we enjoyed ourselves. And so it's starting to get warm out. We had one day where it was real chilly, but it seemed like it's starting to turn the corner and start to warm up here in Philly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. Because it's March. No, I'm tripping. March, it's almost May. It's April. So yeah, I guess it is y'all still kind of in that kind of chilly, waiting for the weather to break. So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
How have you been?
Yeah, man, I've been good, man. This week was a great week. Went to a couple networking events, man. Was really, I mean, work was work, you know what I'm saying? Work was crazy busy, but a great busy though. Like, just blessed to be able to use my talent and my gifts to bring value to, to an organization. Um and then able to break away from work, because a lot of times you get bogged down with work, right? And then, like, you don't get it, you don't net, like, because you finish working, you've been working busy, busy, busy. Like, once you shut it down, you're like, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? And then you
Right.
just kind of doing your own thing, and then you miss the other part of, like, getting out and about and connecting with people, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and making that connection, because that's important too, right? And so
Right.
I went to a luncheon. I don't want to call it luncheon. It was a smaller gathering, but it was a reach out saying how the appetite of, people that want to get together and network, of like minds, people that's, doing great things in their careers, and come together and just have lunch. Not even on some, like, let's strategize and, like, see how we could, but like that stuff will happen. But it really was more so for connection. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's gonna happen organically. And so I'm really glad that I pushed through and went. You know what I'm saying? And so that was pretty cool. And just talking about continuing to push through, I went to I also was invited to a running club on Saturday, which was, man, it was so cool, man, to see so many people, waking up. Well, not, you had to wake up before then, because we had to be there for 8, because then, we had to be there for 8, and then we had to, stretch and get connected and all that. And so I didn't run because I'm still overcoming my herniated disc. But it was like run, walk, whatever you can do. And so I was like, bet I got that. I can do that. So I walked, man, and it was just good. It was just really good energy. And after I did it, I felt really great, man. I told my wife, I call her Baby Boo. So if y'all ever hear Baby Boo, that's what I'm talking about, my wife. Uh, and so I was like, man, I got inspired, man, because I was like, man, that, being in a community of people, like, for health and stuff like that, it matters, man. Like, the energy, everyone was excited, encouraging each other. And so that's why community is, like, really important, man. It just reinforced that for me, which are, you know these things, right? But it's like, sometimes you have it in your mind to go explore something, and then you sometimes don't make it to the exploration of it, and, like, getting signed up or joined up just to see how to go. And so that was one of my takeaways with that. Outside of that, man, yeah, that's what I did uh Friday and Saturday. Uh, Networking event on Friday. Today, um, well, yesterday was the running event, and then today, um, you talked about spending time with fiance. Um, that's something else, man, that we got to talk about too. And hey, y'all, this is our little time to like chop it up and talk before we get into the topic. We're gonna get there. But man, we doing life, man. So we got to talk about these things too, man. Like we'll get to the money, we'll get to like what's going on in the economy, but like as you're navigating all these things in your day to day, you're doing life, right? Like, and so with your health, with your significant other, and if you don't have a significant other, your time is coming, what I'm saying? If that's what you desire, right? Like, and or whatever, but like one of the things I thought I'd ask you during this segment is, like what's something that you've done for your significant other and it wasn't about you. Like, and you wasn't doing it to get something back.
Oh, that's I'll say that's easy. Even just little things, which I would say that's almost a trick question because anything I do that's gonna boost her mood is gonna boost my mood. So anything that makes her win makes me win. But something that I can think of like that's easy is like cleaning. That's the easiest way to. I'm like, okay, if I know if like for instance, if she goes somewhere and she's gonna be gone for a couple hours, I'm like, okay, um, because I know for me, I'm able to just, yeah, I don't know if it's just a guy thing. Yeah, if it get a little messy, I don't care as long as it ain't dirty. There's a difference between messy and dirty. Messy, your unorganized stuff's over the place. Dirty, that's we know what dirty is. But I know for her, when things are messy and things are cluttered, like her brain takes on what the room is like. So now she feels like her life is cluttered and she's cluttered. She ain't in that good of a mood. So I'm like, okay, if I know she's gonna be home soon, um, you know, and the thing is, I really enjoy. I don't want to say I enjoy cleaning, but I enjoy it a lot more than she does. So it's very easy for me to say, you know what? Let me put on the podcast, take 20, 30 minutes, and just make the room look nice. Just make it look presentable. You ain't got to do a deep clean, but that's a very easy thing. And so, fellas and ladies, just figure out find little moments where your partner is like, oh wow, I like this because I just know while I'm cleaning, I know she's gonna walk in and go. Like even though
Yeah.
you've seen that same room cleaned that same way hundreds of times, but it's just still that effort, it's a thought that counts.
Yeah, nah, that's facts, man. Hearing you say that, yeah, 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 you're right, man. Because that's when you're in that spirit of just doing for others, man. When like that selflessness, right? Like, and that's what it takes, whenever you are in relationships. And obviously we talking about significant others right now, but like that's how it is, with other relationships outside of like, your intimate, like someone that connected with for life or soon to be for life. Um, and so prime example, I sent my wife away for a weekend getaway just so she can relax, like so she can relax. So she been gone since like Friday morning. So she been gone. Uh, One of my good friends, him and we've gotten pretty cool with him and his wife, and so they went and had a little girls trip, like girls' little weekend getaway where they just chill and do nothing and relax and just being able to recharge. And so I wanted that for her. But then also today she's coming back. She'll be back like 8 this evening, and like we ain't got nothing in the fridge. And so I could have, so just to give you an idea of like, hey man, this is what we talking about. Like, I literally could have just like, yo, man, I'm sleeping in. Like, I'm tired. Like, I'm gonna sleep in. But what I did was I got up because I still needed to prep for the show, right? So I'm like, all right, what I can do is I took a little bit of my Saturday to make sure I was prepping for the show a little bit, making sure, getting my thoughts together, what I want to share with the folks, what I thought would might be helpful and meaningful. But then today, I still like to take a whole hour before the show just to, get my thoughts together and think about like what we really want to talk about and deliver it, making sure it's coming from a good place, not a perfect place, but a good place. And so what I did was I got up early to go to the store because we had nothing in the refrigerator. And she was like, hey, uh, don't worry about washing clothes, this and that. So your boy in here washing clothes, now folding them. The Lord gonna have to work on me on with that one. I hate folks that close.
Yeah.
He gonna have to work on me with that one. But I'm like, hey, I can get it started because she's thinking when she come back, she's gonna have to wash clothes. She's thinking tomorrow she's gonna have to go to the store because she's the one that typically do all these things. So I washed the clothes. I went to the store, but not only did I go to the store, I cooked her food for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, so she
Mhm.
can have, so when she come home, cause she ain't gonna make it home till like 9:30. So I wanted to make sure she had some lunch and dinner for tomorrow in a couple days. She likes salmon. So I got her some salmon and some chicken kebab. And so I cooked it the way she liked it. And then I cooked her some steamed spinach, sauteed spinach, and then some steamed broccoli. And that's what she likes. Right now she like trying to keep it low on carbs. So I did that all before the show. So
Right.
so your boy been putting in that work early this morning, man. It's almost 12 my time, Central Standard Time, but your boy been working. I've been up early doing a whole bunch of stuff, just trying to, wanting to get it done. And to your point, she gonna come home. Oh, I forgot. And I picked her up some her favorite flowers, some
Yeah.
lilies. So she gonna come in the door. She gonna see her favorite flowers. That's gonna
Yeah.
light her up. Then she gonna open up. She gonna be thinking in her head, "Dang, ain't nothing in the fridge,
This,
man."
this this Negro been sitting here caked up all weekend. I mean, I know I've been chilling too, but okay, now I gotta watch this stuff. It hit different when you walk in. It's just a fresh, like, oh wow, I can really just chill right now.
Yep. Um, and so yeah, man, I got that. I got it all ready to go for it, man. And so
Yeah.
you don't get a blissful marriage just by accident. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to put in that work, but it got to come from that place of you want to do the work, not like like I did it, like, and then you looking for a reaction. It's like, no, be consistent with doing it, like doing those little things, and then like integrate it into that's what y'all do for each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so anyway, a little long winded there about that, but I thought that that was meaningful. And how is this related to the listeners out there? Is who is somebody in your life that if it's not a significant other, maybe it's someone that holds you down. Maybe it's a close friend that always got your back. Maybe it's your, a kin or whoever. Like there's always someone that you can do something for, and they'll appreciate it. Like the biggest thing is just showing people that you appreciate them.
Yeah. And I want to challenge them even further because recently, maybe a couple weeks ago, but I had someone really challenge me and a couple other people. They challenged us on what our idea of networking was. And they were like, I guarantee, they asked, what do you think networking is? Think about it in your mind. And say, I guarantee what you think networking is really like social peddling, social panhandling. And
Mm.
so we can get into that. But basically, he was saying, like, you're really reaching out to people looking to see how it can benefit you. That's not networking.
No,
Like,
it's
and
not.
I want to challenge, our viewers, of course, like Kenny is saying, reach out to the ones that's closest to you, the people that you love ones. But I also challenge you if you're in a season where you're networking or you're meeting new people, or if you've just met someone that's, you recently is a part of your team, think about find a way to do something that benefits them that might not benefit you directly or in the immediate future, but like I said, find a selfless act and just go make someone's day that you're networking with.
Yeah, no, it's the good book says better to give than to receive, but the craziest thing that happens, man, when you give, it comes back. It just don't give it and expect it to come from the direct person the same way you gave it to them, right? Like it might be it's gonna happen different. So if you just develop that spirit of giving and you just consistent with how you doing that, it comes back tenfold. And we're gonna intertwine some of the good book and these principles in there too. So, whether you're religious or not, the principles work. Like so, we're intertwine a lot of that here and there in this whatever. These ain't no sermons, but at the same time, like tested and true principles, they work regardless on where they coming from. They work. So like, yeah, I like where you coming from. I like where you coming from with that, Ken. Okay. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into our first topic, right? So it's gonna be a little spicy. It's gonna be a little spicy, but it's not meant to be. We're gonna talk about it though. All right, so I'm about to do a quick screen share. Can you see my screen?
Yep, I can see it.
All right, so the first article that we're gonna talk about is 6 reasons why the poor stay poor and middle class doesn't become wealthy. I know that just hearing it, I know that landed on some folks' spirit. Like you might be mad, it might have pissed you off. It may not have been meant to be that, but if it's resonating with you and you felt it, there's something there. And so just tune in and just listen. Always keep an open mind. It doesn't mean if this
Mm,
article is right or wrong, whatever, but like just keep an open mind, because our upbringing does influence us. So let's just dive in there. Let's get into these 6 reasons. 6 reasons poor stay poor. One, we learn financial habits privately, not in school. So,
yeah.
whenever you think about it, like first, let's get the parents out there grace, right? Like, so this ain't, bashing nobody or nothing like that. At this point, we all about extreme accountability, right? Like, and pointing at yourself. But it does impact you, like coming up, growing up, if his money conversations are totally avoided or not necessarily avoided, but like not intentionally speaking about it, like not intentionally having family gatherings and like, hey, let's talk about money. Hey, this is the value of a dollar. Hey, this is how you pay yourself first. Hey, make sure you pay off your debts. Hey, don't get into massive amounts of debt, but hey, make sure you invest too. Make sure make sure. And so you just developing these sound fundamental principles as it relates to your finances. But if you've never gotten to the conversation and all you hear is I can't afford it, money don't grow on trees. And it's just more of a holding on type of conversation, and it's not coming from a confidence level about money. It's not coming from that lens, and you're just not ever hearing that. You're only hearing one side of it, not to diminish that side, but you're not hearing the other side. Like, so a lot of times you get stuck in this purgatory of lack. Well,
Right.
there's people in this world that is operating in abundance and we talking about money right now. So we're gonna talk about abundance in your finances. So it says hard to get rich if you don't know much about money. That's what the article say.
Right.
Surprising no one, financial literacy shares a strong correlation with wealth. Yet teaching personal finance or investing in schools isn't prioritized. Not meant to be. Instead of us must learn them at home. Instead, each of us must learn them at home or worse on our own in adulthood. What you got? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm taking a step further, like, because I think that is part of the problem, but even for those of us that have, because some of us do get this material in school. I'm gonna take it a step further in that I don't think it's just the fact that we're not learning it in school, because I think some of us are learning it in schools. Because I remember in high school, I had one class that it wasn't the best, but we at least covered
Yeah,
some stuff. And then in college, I took like one course on personal financial literacy and what to do, but at that time it was just theory. I
yeah,
wasn't I wasn't earning money yet. I didn't know what to do. So I'm gonna take it a step further and not just say we learn financial habits privately, but we practice financial habits privately. Once we actually start earning an income, we're not really, we just kind of free with our money. No one's there to tell you what to do. There's no teacher, no parent, no, no accountability partner. And so that's why I try to, I mean, money is a bit of a private issue in America, I guess, in our society. So people don't want to talk about it. But for people that I'm close with, for the most part, obviously, you pick and choose who you talk about this stuff with. But if it's somebody that, if it's like a peer, a guy that's my age, then we're, and we're pretty cool. I won't steer away from talking about money. I'll ask them like, hey man, how do you feel about money? I try to initiate these conversations because at the end of the day, we're all just learning. I'm not better than them. They're not better than me. Maybe they'll put me on to something that I don't know, or maybe I can help them and say, hey, maybe the way you're approaching debt is not going to get you to where you want to be, because it's not about, what I want for them or what they want for me. And so if we can all maybe start practicing these financial habits together and maybe share what's working and help each other achieve our own goals faster.
no, that's deep. That's deep. All right, let's go to number two. We adopt the views and habits of our communities.
Mm.
Hey, if you grow up surrounded by attorneys, investment bankers, or entrepreneurs, you'll likely consider those career paths. And man, I've seen that to be so true. You may also get some help along the way with tuition, test preparation, and introduction to people who can help with your career. You've seen that in school, getting that test preparation and what that did for you in your life. Uh, but even if you don't, you'll grow up with a clear view of these career paths. You'll know each step it takes to get exactly where you want to go. So the moral here is just talking about your role models. Role models probably work long hours and value education. Your parents probably press you to get good grades, which that's just, I understand that mindset, but that's not, but to your point, taking it one step further, it's not just about getting good grades. It's about how are you going to apply that to the real world? Like what you're learning in school, how are you going to make that though? How are you making the connections with the skills that you need for the real world? School is a part of it, but like you get so used to getting glorified for having good grades, you lose that connection of like, because once school is done, like you feel like you're on a mountaintop and hey, it was a great accomplishment, but then you get into the real world, your career start, and you think, I'm like, hey, grades over. Like, ain't nobody giving you no more, A's and all that. Like, that's over with. You know what I'm saying? But and
Yeah.
so going back to the article, if you grow up surrounded by high school dropouts, some of who work low wage jobs and others of whom collect social security or disability benefits, and that is considered retirement. Naturally, some people, have health concerns, things like that. But like maybe you are in a community where Social Security and disability benefits, that is the retirement, and there was no preparation up until that point. Like none, like no investments, no 401ks, no pensions, none of that. And that was the retirement plan was for the government to take care of them. So not saying I'm just saying it as a straight line matter of fact, not putting judgment on it one way or the other, but maybe that might have happened in the community that you are part of. So they probably wouldn't be the ones that lend themselves to financial success. You may even develop a disdain for that. So for education. So what are your thoughts on that part of it?
I think, I mean, and I guess it kind of goes back into like the first point as well. Like I was saying, I guess if you're practicing financial habits with people that don't have good financial habits, and that's definitely going to pull you. Or if, like I said, if you grow up seeing these poor financial habits, it's hard to shake what you witness, what you spend 18 years witnessing. It's hard to just take a year or two and shake all that off. You might not even know how deep into your mind that stuff is waiting, and so you have to really put in the work and figure out, like I said, what goals do you want for yourself? Because it's very easy to get caught up in what goals you think sound good, or taking the other route and saying, well, I know what I don't want to be, and looking at all the bad around you, saying, I just don't want to be that. Well, then, okay, well, then once you get past bad, you still got to work to be good and great and then awesome. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's now what you're talking about is being stuck in purgatory of focusing on what you don't want. And that's all you ever focus on is what you don't want. You never turn the corner and ask the opposite question, well, what do I want? And then you start spending more time focusing on what you do want. And things do happen in our lives, but it's all about framing, and and this comes with maturity, this comes with coaching, this comes with mentors. Like everything that happens to us in the moment, it probably sucks. It probably don't feel good. But like if you can make your way around to say everything is working out in my favor, this is where having faith, this is where having, some type of spiritual foundation, and you understand some of the principles that go along with that's those spiritual teachings and those principles, where it's like everything is working out for your good. Like if you truly believe that, then you're like, sure, I would have wanted it to happen a different way, right? But like it didn't. So like get over it. Like, and get therapy or whatever you need. But like, well, if you can make it around to the framing of everything's working out for my good, everything's working out for my good. And so then you have that mindset, and then you're focusing on, well, what do I want? And then, you know, you just slowly start moving forward, right? And I'm not saying it like above, you know, anyone else. Like me saying it, that's a journey that I've been on, you know, that we all are on together. So I want to say it in that way. So not from a, you know, better than position. All right. Number 3, higher education equals higher earnings. As it comes as no surprise that education is highly correlated with wealth. In fact, Social Security Administration put the average lifetime earnings of men and women with advanced degrees 1.5 million higher than those with high school diplomas. But growing up in poor communities, you'll face several challenges in attaining higher education. The first is cultural. You're simply less likely to want to go the distance if no one in your community has pursued it. Honestly, what I hear there is just really just honestly the lack of exposure, right? That's what I hear there. So it's not like you didn't, you know, I don't think people inherently like not want to do better for themselves, but like if you just don't have the exposure, like you just don't even know that that's possible. Like, and so getting that exposure is really important. The other part that it talks about is you'll also face financial challenges in pursuing your education. Your parents might ask you to chip in financially once you reach your teenage years, making it harder to stay in high school and earn stronger grades. So, and that says nothing of the cost of college or even applying to them. So when you start making money, your family like, hey, you're gonna have to pay this light bill. Like, hey, you're gonna have to start helping out with something. Then, if you do make it around to getting exposure to pay for college, then it's like, oh, you're gonna have to foot that bill 100%. Like, they got you to 18, but then you like, dang, I want to go to college. You ain't got no funding. So now you're talking about going into massive amounts of debt potentially. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you can get scholarships and things like that. And do you have the training, the exposure process plan to help you get scholarships and work your way through that? Not everyone makes it to the scholarship route, depending on what your academics look like. So, like, that's what this part is talking about. What's your thoughts on that? Coming from a Gen Z perspective.
I mean, especially having just
Wait,
with
before you go, and I was the one that did not get any financial support. I didn't get no scholarships. I didn't get any scholarships, no full rides. Ended up in over $100,000 worth of debt. By the way, it's gone. But I do think that all those things made me stronger. But I resonate with this article. Now you had a different experience. So let's hear your I just want to add that context in there. So now when you go, and also for the listeners so they can understand the contrasting things. So we're not like reading this article and hadn't affected us in some way or another. Like, so we humanizing this because we just like y'all. You know what I'm saying? All right, kick it off. My bad, cutting you off.
not right. Honestly, like I said, it resonates for me in a different way because like I had the opportunity to attend an Ivy League school with a full ride. I didn't have to pay a penny. I mean, of course, hidden costs, but for the most part, full ride. I didn't pay lunch. I got paid to go. But a lot of people will hear that story, and of course, I worked hard. You know, I made sacrifices. Anyone that's going to those schools did the same thing. But a lot of people won't realize that a major, like, they don't realize the like the behind the scenes, or I guess I'll say like the butterfly effect. Like they don't even know that none of that would have even could have came to play. Like the domino that got pushed to set all that off was literally just my big brother saying, "Yo, Kim, have you even thought about like going to an Ivy League school? Have you even like given this any thought? Like, I think you might could do it." Like, and even then, you know, it was still just an idea, a crazy idea. But
Okay,
sometimes,
all right. So right there, because this might go back to the community. So this might be taking us back to step 2. But how did you even not seeing it in your environment? For me, I was the first to graduate with undergrad, like with my bachelor's and my master's. So like I don't know what maybe it was God that activated say you're gonna be the one that's gonna push things further, but I did not see it in my circumference. For you, you talk about Ivy League, you didn't see that. I didn't go to no Ivy League. So like what seed was planted in you to want to explore Ivy League, going back to your point?
I think for me specifically, and it's probably true for a lot of people, but it was, or a lot of people that came from a similar scenario. I think it's a mix of, it's kind of like it's kind of like a lighter. You got to have the gasoline, which I think the support from like you, that vision to say, you know what, Keon, because you could have just woke up that day and be like, I'm not finna boost Keon big head up. I'm not even gonna tell him this because I don't know. Or you could have just not said that. So I said that's the gasoline. And then the support I got from others, like my mentors and people that helped me with test prep and all that, that's the gasoline. But I'll say the actual like the mechanical movement, the spark was, like I said, I think you gotta have some internal drive. Like, I mean, all throughout my school career, I mean, from like kindergarten, I mean, from kindergarten and up, I mean, class was pretty easy to me. Maybe like around like fifth, sixth grade, math was like but even still, I didn't care to put in the work. I didn't want to. I'm just here because y'all made me. I'm here because I have to be. I'm here because my parents will get arrested if I don't show up. So, okay, all right, I guess I'll show up then. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna be talking to my friends in class, having fun, doing just enough in class to make sure my parents don't, take my game away, take my phone away. That's my main priority. But then for some reason, maybe a year or two before you make that comment to me about the Ivy League, something just kind of switched in me where I was like, you know what? In my mind, I think I'm smart. Whether people agree with me or not, that's up to them. But for some reason, I feel like I'm smart, and I just want to see what I can do if I really try in these classes. Because it's one thing to get a B or get a C and be like, I didn't try though. I coulda, I coulda. I didn't want to be a coulda, woulda, shoulda at graduation. You get what I'm saying? I didn't want to be at graduation like, man, I could have did this and I could have if I really tried. I didn't want to be like that. So I said, you know what? I don't know, something just flipped in me. I was like, you know what? I don't want to avoiding a butt whooping and avoiding getting my phone took wasn't just my main motivator no more.
Mm.
For some reason, my pride got involved. I don't know why or how, but somehow it did. And I said, you know what? Let me care about this. Let me actually put some effort into it and started, really taking my grades serious. And actually, it happened at the right time because that's when your grades start really counting towards the GPA. They're not really counting what you do in elementary, but for some reason, you had caught me in that mood, and then you and also other mentors who said, Keon, you might be able to. I started seeing it for myself in terms of, okay, I know the grades are going to be good. I know my GPA. I don't got to worry about that, but I know you need more than GPA to get into these schools. Boom, that's when insert the test scores. They started having practice tests at my school, and I took it, and I scored pretty well on it. I think I scored like a 28, 29. And so I didn't know much about the test, but I knew that was decent. And then, I mean, I guess the rest was history from there. I locked in with a test prep. One of my teachers who also did test prep. And after a couple of sessions, he made me realize, like, yo, like, Keon, this is coming a lot easier to you than most.
For sure.
Like, you in terms of exposure, like you were saying, exposure, you won't know that. I honestly thought that I was bad in English in high school. I really did. I really thought I was a poor communicator. And like so much of your attitude, I mean, and listeners, if y'all listen to this, take this away because I'm not gonna like it wasn't by magic that I became a perfect score in English and reading on the ACT. Like it's a combination of things. Talent, hard work, and like I said, you gotta get your pride involved. If your pride's not in it, you might as well not even be doing it. You gotta go find something that's gonna get you to involve your pride in it. Because once I said, I took what you said and I said, let me see what I can do. Let me make something for myself. Let me see where I can go. So what, it hasn't been done before me. For some reason, once you get your pride involved in your will, all the excuses and obstacles turn into just a roadmap. It's just a map. I don't care. If I gotta run through this wall, I'm gonna run through it. And then once you get the right support system behind you, like that teacher I mentioned, and I had peers that were trying to do the same thing. So we all were encouraging each other. So it was a combination of a lot of things, and there's a lot of luck. So a lot of people, but like again, it all started with me getting mad and saying, you know what, let me see what I can do in school. 'Cause everyone knew me as a funny dude. I was funny dude. You know, Keon's not a class clown, but Keon's kind of smart, but he's funny. Keon ain't serious like that in the classroom. And so I started to believe that about myself, but I say, you know what, that's not true. But
Yeah. So what I hear is, because in this article, it's talking about facing knowledge gaps in your family, of in your family, and then the process of applying for financial aid, and then getting support with scheduling classes, dealing with professors, and paying back student loan. Before it got there, you overcame those knowledge gaps, but it was something within you that started that path of getting. It's a book called uh Who Not How, and I mentioned it in the last podcast. So it sounds like you got to your who's, and you took advantage of those, and it put you in position. But everything starts with you, though, like making a decision. So let's go on to step 4. Ongoing education is lacking. Higher earners know the value of ongoing education. They never stop learning. So, man, this is so deep, man. I should have, dang, I didn't even think about it. Like, now my mind is like on the spot, wanting to go and do some research on the statistics of how many people like take on additional education beyond high school. But you would be so shocked, like, if people do end up graduating from high school, like the continuous education, like people don't continue to pursue investing in themselves, going to conferences, um, taking workshops, taking marriage courses, taking financial courses, taking business courses, taking all different courses that can help enhance your life. And so higher earners know the value of ongoing education. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the traditional sense, but ongoing education is lacking. And that's one of the reasons that is, according to this article, is keeping people poor. Okay. So what are your thoughts on that?
I uh I got curious. I want to know the statistics. Now I'm not sure. This might just be a number, but I see something that says about in 2022, about 62% of people who finished high school immediately went to college. And then in that same year, 2022, about 39% of all 18 to 24-year-olds were enrolled in some type of post high school program. So, and it says, college student enrollment has been going down over the past 20 years. And so I thought that was interesting. I was curious. I wanted to know about that myself. And so here's the thing, because I think that's still a good number. I think that's probably,
Yeah.
you would still say most people are still going to college or doing something. But another number that comes to my mind is how many people are finishing. It's not you don't just get the degree or diploma because you just showed up. You got to finish, and a lot of people are not finishing.
Wow. So let's keep going. At the high end of the ladder, the wealthy, let's talk about what the wealthy do. The wealthy invest enormous sums to join high performance peer groups that constantly challenge them to keep growing. They embrace accountability partners, executive coaching, masterminds, and endless personal development. They never stop learning because they know that the more you learn, the more you'll earn. Okay, so I got a question. If you're listening right now, how many of you in the last how many of you in the last year that you could say you invested $500, $1,000 into your education? Like, and or did you stay in the space of, man, we need to give reparations. And I'm not even discounting it. Like, I'm not even bringing it up to debate it one way or the other. Or because what I hear is extreme accountability, extreme ownership, and they're doing something. So if you are making $30,000 a year, when is the last time you've done something to better your life? Where you took money out your pocket and said, I'm worth it. I'm gonna go buy this course. I'm gonna go do this thing. Like I'm in a dead end career. Man, it's a ceiling on my career. Man, you know what? I might need to pivot to something else, man, where I can unlock my income and I enjoy it. So
Right.
like, and so it's not about just chasing the money, but it's like you can make that connection point of like, I'm interested in this. And let me also do lift the hood and just make sure because you might have multiple interests. So it's like, okay, I have the interest there, and it'll create a path for me. Like when as I develop and learn those skills, I'll put myself in position to double my income, triple my income. Because what happens is, or are you staying in that victim space of, man, I just can't get ahead, and you just will not let go of where you currently are. And I get it, you have to making a pivot takes time. So this is not any quick fix stuff anyway. So I'm gonna get your way in, Kim. But first, I'm gonna shout out to one of the solutions that we brought to you. It's not the be all end all, but it's one. We know the CEO at Level Careers. If it's of interest, feel free to check them out. Level Careers, tech sales, cybersecurity. You can make some pretty good money. You don't necessarily need a degree, so you can bypass that part. But it's going to take you some work to get there if you don't have the degree. But it can help get you some exposure to people that's in the industry, education where people are doing it, and it's true practitioners who's not just talking about it and just have this course and they ain't even living what they saying. The CEO is living what he say he living, which I know personally. The course, the person that's giving the courses, they live in it, they're doing it, they're being it. And so if that's something of interest, Level Careers, check out the link below. Go to the website. If you can get a discount, put Ken in the discount code. And it can help you out. It's one of many resources, but my biggest thing is go get some help. Go develop yourself. Go invest in yourself. Ken, I'm gonna kick it over to you.
Right. I think I can already hear. I know you went straight at people. You said if you're making 30,000, I can already hear. But Ken, I with the bills and my girl or my man or the kids and this and the car, my alternator went out. Look, okay, we understand. Maybe you don't have the bread to drop right now, obviously, but maybe you need to come up with a plan and figure out how can you save up in 2 to 3 months and invest in something. And if maybe the finances is going to take longer than that, but we're telling you don't sit up and complain or just rely on that excuse because you can invest way more than money.
Fact.
If you can invest your time, invest your attention, invest your focus. We know you got to work, but if you come up off your shift, we don't want to hear you complain. If you come up off your shift and coming home and just immediately like, oh, life is so hard. Where's the remote? Where's my bowl of chips? I'm finna lay down and life is so hard. So I think I'm just gonna watch TikTok till about 7, 8. And then life is so hard. So I think I'm gonna go fix dinner and now life's too hard for that. I think I'm gonna go out to eat and I got this time for me to go back to sleep. I gotta go back to work. But nah, you had all that time. You could have easily been researching or just it's free for now. It's free to use Google and all these search engines, so you can search for ways to get about your situation. There's so many there's so much information out there. So like we said earlier, it starts with you.
Facts. Yeah, yeah. All right, number five. Home ownership is out of reach. The average homeowner has a net worth 40 times higher, 396,200, than of the average renter, 10,400, according to the Federal Reserve. However, it takes tens of thousands of dollars to buy a home between the down payment, closing costs, cash reserves. That puts home ownership out of reach for many lower income Americans, and without it, a major avenue to building wealth. my thoughts on it is it's still going back to what we just talked about. Like if you realize like you're not making enough money and you've budgeted as much as you possibly can. Uh, what one of the things I've learned is usually when we are in certain scenarios, if you dig deep and you genuinely ask yourself, have I done everything that I possibly can? Have I been as resourceful as I possibly can? About, have I really given this thought? Like the situation I'm in, have I really explored all my options, all my opportunities, or am I really just settling? Because to your point, it will take time. Like, so are you even being resourceful? So I get it. Like sometimes we don't have money, but like money is the last thing that comes.
Hmm.
like when money show up, a person like, man, how you make that type of? It's like, man, do you know what I did to like? Do you know like the blood, the sweat, the tears? Like you said, getting off work, then I gotta go study this, or I gotta go read this book, or I gotta go take this course, and I'm just mapping it out, and and like just one day putting one foot in front of the other, one day at a time, one day at a time, and then next thing you know, you start building momentum, and you start seeing like, dang, my life is changing, like you know what I'm saying? But it takes time because you got to become something different. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, if you realize home ownership is out of reach, I understand. I get it. But that don't have to be your reality forever. What plan can you put in motion that can increase your income, that can start that process? But then also, are there resources out there that can help you get into home ownership if that's something that you want to get into? However, I will caution not to be house rich and cash poor to where the
Hmm.
only thing you can do is live in a house, but by the time you pay all the bills, you strapped. And when I say strapped, you are literally one scenario away from you plan it so tight to where if anything comes up, you might barely even be able to pay the mortgage next month. So like just be mindful, make sure you're operating and you're giving yourself some buffer as you're moving, and you're truly ready to make that purchase financially. I'll kick it over to you if you got any thoughts on the home ownership part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got hit right on top of the head. I Now, maybe this is just one of them takes where it's like, Keon, once you get older, you'll understand. Probably, maybe I'm just too young, but I feel like there are just certain traditions that are kind of, I don't want to say forced, but we just kind of go along with it. And I think home ownership is one of the things where it's like we don't really question it. It's just assumed like, no, I have to get a home. And some people make the extra jump and go, I have to get a home ASAP.
Facts.
I have to do what it takes to go get a home ASAP. And then they villainize renting, and that I think that's where the conversation gets screwy. Like everyone needs to just focus on what route is going to get them to their goals the quickest. If someone else's route involves renting, then cool. If your route does or doesn't, then cool. But focus on it from like a long-term perspective. But like I said, I don't know. Do
No,
do you, do you,
it's
do you get what I'm
definitely an
saying?
interesting topic for sure because it's be so stark differences like home ownership or nothing or die. And then it's like
Yeah.
you a loser if you rent. And it's like, well, maybe I ain't ready to rent yet. Like maybe I don't even know if I'm
Yeah.
gonna be here in the next 2, 3 years. Or actually, I'm in the middle of my goal, or I'm building a business, or I'm building, or like I'm literally in the middle of something. And so why would I take this money and allocate it here when I really can use this towards what like it's just like a either or. I understand what the statistics say, but sometimes it's about timing. It's about what your interests are, and and so it does get pretty tricky. And I will say, like during these periods now, the interest rates are higher, but at the same time, if you have worked so hard and dedicated you built your business, you built a really great career, the interest rates might not even be a big deal for you. So
Right.
like So I know a lot of people mention interest rates, but some people it's probably not, it might not even bother. But see, that's wealth mentality. Like, oh my God, interest rates
Hmm.
are high. Like I can't. And you're right. Like it might, when the interest rate shot up, it might have priced you out. But like then maybe there's an opportunity. Like I'm just built like if something like that happens, I'm like, oh, if I really wanted to purchase a home, I'm like, okay, bet. I'm not gonna let this economy dictate what I'm doing with my life. Like, what's my plan to be recession proof? Like I'm saying it in like how can I recession proof my life to where I can control the things that I can control to where if the interest rate is at 8, 9, or 2, yeah, there will be some nuances, but I can still go do that thing that I want to do for myself and my family.
Yep. You know what I hate about our community? I hate our people sometimes. You know why I hate our people? We'll learn something and act like and shame you for not knowing it.
Mm.
You get what Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, like it kind of reminds me like of what of
Hey,
what
you hold on, say, hey, that's a strong word. So just say you may be disappointed or just troubled or frustrated or annoyed.
I love our people, but we gotta do better on this. Not for real. Like if you don't know a friend that does that, it might be you. So like okay, but it kind of reminds me like of what Dame Dash did to the word employee like 10 years ago. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, just to wrap it up though, like y'all, yes, home ownership is a great goal to achieve for, but and that's something that a lot of our people might not have been able to take advantage of in the past that now we're able to start getting advantage, starting to get in on because the laws, racism is, whatever. It's a good time to be able to own homes. And so as you are approaching your goal of home ownership, whatever that is for you, don't put other people down. You know what I'm saying? Just lift other people up.
No, that I like that. No, that's I like that. I like that a lot actually. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. Yeah. All right, last one. Investing. Man, investing and leveraging aren't practice. Some of the reasons above are practical or financial. Others revolve around cultural views and habits. All right, so they talking about Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki wasn't wrong when he explained that the rich put their money to work for them while the poor and middle class work for money. You can argue for your own limitations and come up with perfectly reasonable reasons why you or someone else can't afford to do likewise. Man, that's sheesh. Man, that's deep. You wouldn't be wrong per se, but you also won't get rich. Dang, that's wild. You gotta let that one breathe when he you gotta let that one breathe. Robert Kiyosaki, the Godfather, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He be doing some doom and gloom stuff too, though. It'd be a bit much sometimes, but like the overall arching premise of his message though, man, that's deep right there, man. That's deep. You know, I'll kick it over to you and get your thoughts on it.
Just first thing I thought of was we are using leverage though, Ken, but they're using it the wrong way. You're using
Mm.
leverage to get that new top or get that new TV.
Ah, or the whip
Mm.
with a negative, and you already don't have much of a net worth, and then you buying too much of a car, and now you're negative. If you have six figures as a negative net worth, man, like we gotta turn it around and do some things. If you have you know, and even if it's 5 digit negative, you're not a bad person. It's just some decision that you've made up until that point got you there. And so the biggest thing is we got to turn it around. We got to do something different. We got to do something different. You know, yeah. And we talked about net worth before. And so, man, we so far behind. But it's like some of this stuff, man, like I totally agree. Like, man, some of the stuff that was done to us as black folks was egregious. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just straight up egregious. But like at the same time, one of my mentors, like, hey, but we gonna control what we can control. Like, Like, we're gonna acknowledge that all that stuff happened. Like, but in 2024, we ain't, if we still a slave in 2024, it's because you are doing some things that's keeping yourself enslaved and in bondage financially. Now, yeah, there's still systematic things, and heck yeah, at black, if you black, sometimes you do have to work 10 times harder, like to get the same thing. Like, so we don't want to discount any of that. That's real, but like, okay, I just refuse to spend any of my time talking about all that. We can acknowledge it, but what we doing about it? Like, what do we do? Like, your family cannot eat off of historical data, historical context, the historical racism, systematic racism, all of the racisms and isms. Your family can't eat off of that. You can't eat off of that. You can't build wealth off of that. Like, so acknowledging it, but like, what we doing? What we gonna do?
Right, man. That's real, And that sometimes I guess to those in our audience, sometimes looking at it kind of black and white like that helps. It kind of helps you zoom out on what's real and what's not, you know? And so when you're dealing with your emotion and dealing with certain things, like for fear, I say to myself, how do you help yourself overcome fear and overcome, that worry? It's not that you're a superhero and that it doesn't exist. It does exist. It's there. But I can't pay the bills with fear. I gotta go find something else. I gotta go combat it. I gotta overcome it.
Yeah. And as we wrap on this one, I want to use this example. I want to talk about this specific example that they use in the article. So years ago, when they're talking about a business partner was a low-wage single mom with 4 young children, she house hacked by subleasing the master bedroom in her rented home. She moved a bed into a hall closet for herself, and her subleasee covered most of her home's rent. That enabled her to save money to eventually buy a home, which she again partially rented out to cover her housing payment. She scored free housing because she learned how to leverage other people's money. She didn't spend the money she saved. She funneled it into more income producing assets and investments, growing even more income. Later, she learned how to put other people's time to work building her business. Woo, man. And of course, she's the exception. She rose to wealth because she learned how to play the game more like the wealthy.
Mhm.
So you don't understand my situation. Y'all ain't got no kids. I'm struggling. I got a lot going on. You don't understand. Daycare, all of that. And damn, daycare, yeah, it does. Yes, absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely. But come on, man. Like early in the article, like I said, if you wanna advocate for your limitations and fight for them,
Mm.
be my guest. Like, that's still not gonna change your situation.
Wow, that's deep.
Like, fight for your limitations, but like, and we all in our own right, regardless on our circumstances, if we're not getting the outcome that we want, that we say we want for our lives, and we gonna fight you on our limitation. Think about that. Like, think about the deep rooted programming of fighting for a limitation that's not really working for you. And it's not moving you further. Actually, you just spinning your wheels because now you just reinforcing that because what you speak into existence, it's real. Like it becomes real. It becomes your existence. Like, so be mindful what you're speaking into your life. Be mindful who's speaking into your life. And if it's too many people speaking limitations in your life, guess what's gonna manifest in your life?
Limits.
All right, so that's enough on that article. I'll leave you with this. Uh, I thought it'd be good to share this, man. Proverbs 22:7. If you haven't read Proverbs, this is just the book of wisdom, man. Like, check it out. But you don't even have to be like the most. You ain't got to be no pastor, no preacher, nothing. Just open it up, go to Proverbs, like you be like, dang, this got all kind of wisdom that I can live by. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. So my thing is, my question I would ask is, how do I be the lender? I'm glad you asked. You know what I'm saying? So like it just starts sparking things like that in your life to help you start thinking about things on a deeper level that can transform you. All right, so we're gonna close it out. All right, next up, Elon Musk.
Mm.
Tesla's robot predictions were all wrong. So this is a Bloomberg article, and the CEO's past statements on autonomy undercut his credibility. So this is Bloomberg. It came out, and so and for context, like first of all, we ain't no economists, so don't even expect
Not at
that from
all.
us. We just bringing information to the common person, just letting you know what's going on out here in the world, um, and bringing it and putting it in front of you, you know, just so you'll be aware. A lot of people know Elon Musk. He's the CEO of Tesla, and I actually listened to the earnings call. So we talking about wealth. So the last, and this is a great segue because if you think about it, the last article was talking about six. It was talking about 6 reasons poor stay poor and middle class doesn't become wealthy. Is because you got to pay attention. What is the wealthy doing? Like whether you invest in this company or not, now this ain't investment advice, but like understand what billionaires are doing. Like it just so it can even start expanding your mind. Like so I sit on some of these earning calls. You know, some companies I am invested in, some I'm not. But I'm like, I just want to hear how quote unquote some of the quote unquote perceive the greatest minds think. Like, what are they talking about? What are they doing? What are they trying to do? What are they predicting for their future? And man, they be talking that big talk. I'll be like, okay.
Mm.
They be talking that God talk. They be on that God frequency with how they be talking. Now, some of them be talking BS too, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. So I'm listening to the earnings call. You know, it's about it was an hour or so or something like that. I don't remember exactly how long. It was quite long though. Man, they didn't talk about no numbers. And they threw me off with that. It was no
Mm.
quantifiable numbers. I was like, this just futuristic talk. Like, I can
Like a head
appreciate
coach.
that. I can appreciate that. But if I'm an investor, you gotta tell me like how are we growing? What was the past performance? What is the next quarter expectation? Like you got to give me some tangible things because the other part too, when you listen to these earning calls, other representatives from uh, investment banks are asking questions. You like, dang, that's a good question, and you listening
Mm.
for the answer. So like it starts to help you to also get better with your critical thinking because
Mm.
sometimes like what you'll have is what you'll realize is some of these CEOs are great storytellers. So they're telling you a great story and you get enthralled into the story and you get excited. And next thing you know, you don't win and made a decision and they ain't gave you nothing fundamental to really truly make a great decision. And so it's actually a great way to help you with your critical thinking skills. You know, just listening sometimes with some of the other questions that people are asking, like, man, dang, that was a great question. So Elon was really pitching Tesla's robot, his future on the robot thing, the robotic automated driving situation, and so on the earth. So you see, they mentioned the earning call, right? So, but this article is pointing out he keep talking, but it's not happening yet. And so let's start it from the top. All right, where we at? All right, that's Elon robot taxi. So Elon Musk did a curious thing this year: Tesla self-driving difficulties. No, I'm not referring to the time he talked about being abducted by. Hey, they throwing shot. They throwing shot. They throwing shot. I can already see this is slanted. They feeling some type of way about Elon with this Bloomberg, or when he referred to how elevator operators used to get tired or drunk. We'll fast forward past that. I'm talking about before Tesla's surreal earnings call when the CEO posted a 30-minute video of remarks he made at the car maker's first autonomy day in April 2019. The reason this was curious to me is that I have a neat computer. I don't know what they're talking about. That must speak for brain. Dang, it sounds like he's being disrespectful. That has
Right.
trouble processing embarrassment. I'd rather not revisit a bunch of things I said half a decade. Oh yeah, we're gonna keep going. Uh, Musk apparently doesn't have this issue. It's wondering he's still throwing shots. Wow. Let me fast forward. He's throwing shots, man. Shots fired on this. Wow. All cars
Yeah.
being produced have all the hardware necessary, compute and otherwise for full self-driving. Now I heard that on a call. I'll say that again. All Tesla cars being produced right now have everything necessary for full self-driving. All you need to do is improve the software. You
Mm.
know, I heard him say that on the call too. I'm like, well, what's the issue? Well, why isn't it happening yet? We're talking about this since 2016. Like, and so sometimes I'm talking about critical thinking. So sometimes the way I'm looking at this, like I said, I'm not an economist. Like I'm like you, man. I'm trying to break this down. Like, okay, Elon, what you doing? Like, you talking about the moon, you talking about all these things, and I love it. Like, I love the futuristic because it make you think big. Like it's big thoughts, big, but like, how is that translating into dollar and cents? You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times people come into our communities and they be saying stuff, and it's like, all right, bro, like outside of the affinity of we're all black and you grouped us together because we're all black, help me understand the results of this. Help me understand the tangible aspects. With you like, and so like you get so absorbed in your emotion and somebody just have a great story that you just start making decisions based off them being a great storyteller, and then next thing you know, it was a scam. And I'm not interested in scam hunting and all that. Like, I get it. And then you blame the person that was a great storyteller. Yeah, but like, what about you? Like,
Right.
you just went off the strength of somebody telling the story, bringing it, and I'm tying it back to the article. He's doing a great job telling this story. Tesla's, decent company, but like right now, I'm just hearing a bunch of talk. And that's what I was hearing on the earnings call. So back in 2016, is proven correct. Tesla has cycled through many iterations of hardware for its autopilot system since then. Early last year, Musk announced Tesla was going to stop offering retrofits of older generation hardware. And he just basically, what he's basically, this guy is doing is trying to hold him accountable from some of the previous things that he said. That matter if those cars were less safe than the company's newer vehicles, as long as Tesla was improving the average level of road safety. All right. So later in the video, Musk shared this week. He lists 3 steps to self-driving. 1, making Tesla's features complete for self-driving, whatever that means. 2, getting the technology to where the company thinks that people in its cars don't need to pay attention. Shit, I ain't like, excuse me, like right now, like I ain't getting no car and I'll be like, hey, just drive me. Like, nah, I'm gonna keep my hand on that steering wheel. Uh
Yeah.
Even if it got some little auto, it could do a little something. Nah, right now, not happening. Reaching a reliability level where Tesla can convince regulators that too is true. Because that's the other part too, is then you got to think about this. Okay, it's not only the cars making them fully self-driving. Guess who else you have to get approval and buy-in from?
Government.
The regulators to allow you to even do this on across all the different countries, state level, government level. But then guess who else you got to get support of? You take a guess.
A lot of people. The people that will have to design the software and all that.
Well, he say they doing that. Keep going, keep thinking.
I guess all the other drivers, really just driver.
Sure, but it's an industry that he has to convince, that has to agree to this too.
Industry. The car. Well, no, no. He owns the car makers. He has the car making facility. Um. Who would he have to convince?
Insurance companies to even allow you to get insurance on self-driving. Could you
Oh
imagine how much
Lord.
of a potential nightmare that could be?
Oh Lord.
Like insuring it, a self-driving car, and what they all just start tearing up. And that's I'm painting this scenario, But like meaning there's a lot of moving parts. So okay, it's self-driving, but can you get insurance on that now? Or if you can, is your insurance $1,500 a month? Because if you got a selfish, like so like there's some other things that to think about there. But if you but under so that's what I'm talking about, like critical thinking, like thinking through some of these things that some of these CEOs are just throwing out at you, and or people that's coming into the community just saying a whole bunch of stuff. And you if you just take a second and be like, okay, hold on. You're saying this. Oh, you can do this in 90 days. Wait a minute. Has someone ever done this in 90 days before? Is that even realistic to do this in 90 days? Have you done this in 90 days, or are you just selling me a course and it really took you longer and you just using copy, and marketing and, manipulating? I mean, that's basically what it is, manipulating the words to make me to jump out an emotion to make me buy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so what's your thoughts?
I think I don't know if this probably started before Amazon, but I feel like Amazon probably started a bad precedent with them approaching their investors with the attitude of, "Hey y'all, we're gonna make mistakes. We're not gonna really answer for it. Y'all know what y'all are getting with Amazon stock. Y'all know we focus on the long term." And so that's cool when you're at Amazon and you back it up, but every other company can't also take that same approach. You know what I mean? At some point, that's the reason why we're having these earnings calls. We need to hold you accountable. You can't just say, "Oh, well, this is gonna be good in the long term." No, show me or give me
Right.
my money back.
Right. So we just wanting to teach the audience to like, you know, go one level deeper, when people are telling you stories. But the other part that but shifting the gears a little bit, they are looking to make they're looking to make their cars cheaper. So it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more affordable, but we'll see. I don't think I'm there yet for the Tesla. It seems pretty cool. I know some people said that they like it. We'll see. I'm not, this ain't a bad, like from our perspective, we're not bashing Tesla. I mean, hey, I love the vision. Hey, if you make it come true, I love it. But we just talking about it. We thought it was an interesting article to bring in front of the people and just talk through it. And the takeaway here is just don't let someone sell you a dream. Make sure like you cast a vision out there. You write the vision down, make it plain. They casting the vision, and that's what CEOs. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to throw something big and audacious out there. So that's the part that I love. The other parts is like this vague talk without specificity. I don't like that as much. Especially like if you're a person that you're putting your money in there and you want to return. So like I don't think I like that. But ultimately be a critical thinker. And we'll move on from this Elon Musk article. All right, man.
Hmm.
We not promoting. State Farm is not paying us. We not promoting them.
I'm blurring all that.
we not
Yeah.
performing that. We not promoting them. Uh, okay. So TikTok,
Mm.
TikTok ban. So no TikTok. So let's talk about it. After years of attempts of the ban the Chinese-owned app, including by former President Donald Trump, a measure to outlaw the popular video sharing app has won congressional approval and is on its way to President Biden for his signature. The measures give Beijing-based parent company ByteDance, hopefully I'm saying that right, 9 months. I've seen the company before, but ByteDance, 9 months to sell the company with a possible additional 3 months if a sale is in progress. If it doesn't, TikTok will be banned. So what does this mean for you, a TikTok user, or perhaps the parent of a TikTok user? High level thoughts on just what you've heard so far on the TikTok. Do you use TikTok?
I do. And I was one of the people that was, I'm never gonna use it, man. That's
Yeah.
nah. I messed around and got on there. It's I don't want to call it a unique app, but it's so unique in that I mean you've seen apps like it before, kind of like with Vine, that kind of was similar, but all the videos had to be short. And it
Yeah.
didn't I don't think it lasted as long, but like TikTok has just it's I think that's when you know it's really it's gone to the next level. It's no longer just an app about, oh, let's make fun videos, you know, sharing content. There's a lot of that, but now you're starting to see the business potential of TikTok, and it's funny. I was in my marketing class last year. They're talking about how I forget the name of it, but they have like a similar setup in China where you can shop directly from the app. And I
Mm,
remember, man, that would be cool to see. Now here you go. You go on TikTok, you swipe once, you see the shop page. And so it's like just seeing the business implications. And I'm just wondering, like, I'm disappointed because I really want to see what the TikTok economy would look like in the US. But you know,
okay. That's interesting because I don't use TikTok. Not opposed to it, but that's interesting hearing your perspective from like an actual user and a non-user. So I'm just curious on what your thoughts on it, how your experience is with it, and like a person that actually using it. And I know for the Gen Zs that out there that may be listening, they might be like you, they're listening. And but I don't use it. I don't use it. But the other part that I always wondered about, what is the big deal? Like, see, again, asking questions. Why are they trying to ban it? Like, what are
right.
the talking points? What is the motivation? What is the reason why? Like, so who, what, when, why? Right? So, like, what's going on? So,
Right.
so do you have any context there before I read this article? I could read it, set it up, and then you could talk to it.
So, from what I understand, the main argument is something about how they'll have access, and they being the the country that the app was made in, like China, like Beijing. They're worried that whoever they is, they'll have access to all of our data because of TikTok. I think that's the main cause for banning it. It's a data breach or something like that. They fear that they're going to have too much access to our stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
And
All right, so let's okay. All right. So let's see. Uh let me see. Should I be worried about using TikTok? So so yeah, this is what I'm talking. So should I be worried about using TikTok? So lawmakers from both parties, as well as law enforcement, to your point, and intelligence officials have long expressed concern that Chinese authorities could force ByteDance to hand over data on the 107 million Americans who use TikTok. That's your information too, buddy. The worries. The worry stems from a set of Chinese national security laws that compel organizations to assist with intelligence gathering, which ByteDance would likely be subject to, and other far-reaching ways the country's auto, auto, ah, authoritarian government exercise control. Did I say that right?
I
I had,
think he did. That,
I had
that,
a tongue
that
twist. I had a tongue twister there. I was always the alternate, so hey, we good. Hey, we good. Data privacy experts say, though, that the Chinese government could easily get information on Americans in other ways, including through commercial data brokers that sell or rent personal information. That's interesting. Lawmakers and some administration officials have also expressed concerns that China could potentially direct or influence ByteDance to suppress or boost TikTok content that are favorable to its interests. TikTok, for its part, has denied assertions that it could be used as a tool of the Chinese government. The company has also said it has never shared U.S. user data with Chinese authorities and wouldn't do so if it's asked. I kind of highly doubt that, but
Hmm.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I highly doubt it. I mean, that's reassuring. Thank you for reassuring me. I don't believe that, but I'm not like against TikTok or anything like that. So interesting. Okay. So I thought that would be good to share with the folks. If you hear politicians, and they have their talking points of ban TikTok, for the American people, and they be talking. Sometimes you got to just try to ask the question why, because like when you really get into this political game, like from the standpoint of what you're seeing on TV, like a lot of this stuff is just talking point. They're talking and they're reading from a prompt and they know what words trigger the American people. And some of it is like, okay, noted, got it. But there's a lot of this stuff, man. It's like if you watching MSNBC or you watching Fox, some of this stuff is just a major distraction. Like
Mm-hmm.
from your personal economy. You know what I'm saying? Like your personal economy, like you said, getting off work, handling your business, but you tuning in to every word that they talking about. And then not only that, you take it a step further, then you go fight somebody about they don't believe what you believe or vice versa. And it's like, man, this is crazy. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you what changed the game for me. I started doing some research, bro. I started researching what is the net worth of Joe Biden?
Mm.
What was his net worth before he went to office? What was his net worth when he just all throughout his career? What
Mm.
was Obama's net worth? What was like prior to coming in office as he was working through the ranks when he came in office? Like when I started like looking and doing stuff like that, I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. Like they get into that bag, they get into that paper, they do what they need to do. And you the president, I respect that, man. Like it takes, it takes hard work to get there or whatever, votes and all that, and just the work they had to do out in prep and positioning that you do prior to that. Any of the conspiracy stuff, I don't know nothing about all that. But what I did see, my biggest thing was like, that's why it's the KB Money Show. I just like to understand where the money going. Like, what a money flow. If you can know what a money flowing, that can give you some indication. Like, oh, okay, they doing it. They pointing over there, right? Like they pointing you over that way, and they over there getting to the bag over here. And you like, oh no, I'm not about to be arguing with nobody about this side, that side. That don't pay me. I want to.
Yeah.
What are they doing to get paid? Like, how can I get paid like them? Like, what how can I get paid? How can I just carve off what's in store that God got intended for me, and I'm not get caught up in that foolishness? And if you want to dig into the politics, dig into it from the perspective like truly understanding how it works if you're trying to make change versus just having talking points and you just arguing with someone and it's not going anywhere. And so there are some people that are doing the work. They are getting legislation passed that are doing it, the work, the real work that we talking about. You got my attention if you're someone that's like, no, I got legislation passed. I can talk that talk. Like that hit a little bit different. But if you just talking, I ain't interested. Bye. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna argue with you. You know what I'm saying? Because it don't at the end of the day, it doesn't matter and it's not translating to dollars. You actually my time is my greatest asset, and you wasting my time, which is worth more than dollars. But
Right.
that's all I got on. But that's all I got on the TikTok. We just wanted to let you know Biden has passed potential TikTok ban into law. So just be on the lookout for that. So if you're a TikTok user, but it did say in the article that probably still like a year or so off from it, like officially being banned. But we'll see. Let's keep tracking. Let's see how it goes. And for now, if you leverage TikTok, if that's how you making some money, hey, do your thing, man. Do your thing,
Yeah.
sis. Folk look at it from that perspective.
That's what I'm just pointing at. As a marketer, I'm gonna be sad to see TikTok go because I was excited to tap into it because there's definitely some potential there.
Okay. All right. So the last article that we're gonna talk about. Appreciate y'all hanging in there. We just wanted to bring y'all some good stuff. Y'all know how we finish. Hey, we gotta finish on a positive note, like some takeaways. So with this article on CNBC Making, it's pretty good. Check that out sometimes. We having some pretty cool stories. All right, so with this one, the most successful young employees always use these 10 phrases to stand out at work, says Harvard Career Advisor. So, this advisor, he got some 3 C's, which I thought was pretty cool. He got 3 C's: confident enough to be trusted, committed enough to be invested in, compatible enough to be a team player. For
Oh, I
sure.
like that.
Yeah, I like that. The 3 C's, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I like that. Okay. I might have to incorporate that in some of my coaching calls, like just, and, give credit what credit to do. But I'm like, that simplified it. You say things in different ways, but I'm like, yo, that's straight to the point. That's real. All right. So this, from their perspective, the sooner you make using these 10 phrases a daily habit, the sooner you'll be speaking like a future leader. Again, speaking things into existence, talking, and you becoming it. What are your top priorities? Many early in career professionals put their heads down and work, or at least pretend to. The most successful professionals figure out what matters to those who matter, and then spend their time on what's most mission critical. Ask this question and you'll show your manager that you're committed to the same goals. What are your thoughts? It's talking about the young folks. I'm gonna be throwing this to you and let you comment on each one from your perspective.
I like this article because it really gives me an opportunity to reflect because I'm in a role where there's a lot of us younger people, and I definitely don't hear people my age or around my age asking the higher ups. I think this is definitely something that if someone's asking this, oh, they're tapped into something different. Like I don't hear people going up to the manager saying, "So okay, what was your priorities again? Like what was the main takeaways? What do you specifically want us to focus on?" Like it was. I like that. That's good.
Okay. 2, would it be helpful if I blank? Many early career professionals wait to be told what to do. The most successful professionals look left, look right, and find a way to be helpful and clear the suggestion with a higher up. Ask this question and you'll show your manager that you can think for yourself and think on behalf of the team. Would it be helpful if I blank?
Yep, I like that. I mean, just in real life, I use that recently. And here's a
Hmm.
trick too: you mess around and use it and mean it, oh, you'll mess around and get something. Because like I had a new manager join my team specifically, so we had a team meeting and he went through, just like, okay, guys, this is what we're gonna be doing. This is kind of how I work. Introducing himself and basically explaining what he needs. Giving us the speech. What do you guys need from me? How can I be a best support to you? And then I called him afterwards. He was getting some water. And I said, hey, man, nice to have you on the team. What do you need from us? What do you need from me specifically? How can I help you? I meant
Hmm.
like, cause I'm sure it's a transition for him, even though like as an employee, and this kind of goes to our topic earlier about networking. You can network inside your company. Just because you're an entry level or a younger person in a relationship, that doesn't mean you can't provide value to whoever the other person is in a relationship, the older person or the more tenured person.
That's deep. Okay. Ken dropping Jews. 3, mind if I join?
Wow, that's nice.
Many early career professionals wait for opportunities to come to them. The most successful professionals pay attention to what's happening and then invite themselves. You won't always get a yes, but you will sometimes. Wow, I like that. Okay. Ask this
That's
question and you will show your manager that you're proactive about your growth and eager to create new opportunities for yourself.
I I definitely, that resonates with me because I think that in the beginning, especially like at my job, in my career specifically, right out of undergrad in the beginning, I think I could, looking back, I was more so focused on figuring out what my task is and doing that versus figuring out, okay, well, are there more tasks for me to do? Oh, well, such and such is doing that. Maybe I should go watch them. Or, I'm the type of person, and if you're listening and this resonates with you, listen to this. I'm the type of person where, right away, I was like, okay, I need to just focus on improving. I need to focus on what I can do. But
Hmm.
sometimes there's nothing you can do. It's day one. You don't know nothing. Just and I'm seeing I've and I say no, I've had the chance to reflect on me because I've seen some of the other new hires because it's an interesting experience going from the new hire to now you're the old dude. They coming up to you for help. And so I'm seeing some of these new hires. I'm like, wow, they are not shy like I was. They going up to the boss, they going up to this person, the manager, either asking for help or involving themselves in the process. Like, yo, can I just watch what you're doing? And I'm like, wow, like that takes a certain level of humility. I was like, man, why did I think I could just learn this stuff by osmosis? Like, you learn so much talking to people and joining, like I said.
4, how does blank work? Many early career professionals do their work without understanding why they're doing that work. The most successful professionals understand why things are the way they are and find ways to get things done more efficiently. Ask this question and you will show your manager that you're seeing the big picture rather than being consumed by a tiny part of it.
Man, I think that's that's a good one because if any for all my other Gen Zers out there, maybe younger millennials, like please just you'll save so much time asking other people that have been there, done that at the job. Yo, how do I do this? How do I do that? Please stop figuring out stuff by yourself.
'Kay? 5, the context is blank, blank, blank. Many early career professionals jump straight into extended monologues. The most successful professionals begin with just the right amount of background information to make sure that others are following first. Get into the habit of starting with the line, and the people around you will get from merely hearing you to actually understanding you.
What's the line?
The context is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Key takeaway. I like 6. I like 5 and 6. This is good. This is communication stuff. This is just, yeah.
Okay. The key takeaway is, so it's kind of connects 5 and 6 appear to be connected, right? So
Hmm.
6, the key takeaway is dot dot dot. Many early career professionals ramble, leaving people confused about what they're trying to say. The most successful professionals get straight to the point, pause, and then elaborate. Get into the
Yep.
habit of using this line, and you will have the best chance of getting your point across the first time around. Thoughts?
I will say there are a lot of times, and this I guess these are maybe the times where I don't want to give my school credit for this because I feel like, well, I had the raw talent in terms of communication, but I was fortunate to have a lot of people in high school and college help me craft it. And now I'm able to, now that I'm out of an Ivy League and I'm kind of back in Gen Pop or norm, around the norm population, I'm able to see like, oh wow, there is a difference. Wow, this person does ramble. Or wow, this person,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Or like, and it's not to say I'm better than them, but I'm like, oh wow, I'm only able to recognize it because I used to do the exact same thing.
Do you ever coach, mentor, just like help? Okay.
Now, if they ask, that's the thing. Because
Got
they
it.
were not only are we peers, you got to remember, I'm probably the youngest peer because I'm fresh out. All of them are 23 to 28. I'm 22, about to be 23. So I don't want to just,
Ah,
especially I'm new. They're like, man, this little young gun, he think he just know
just the
everything.
Ivy Leaguer. He done came to Ivy League thing.
We didn't even ask him. He Lord, he can't wait to tell us something, right?
Nah, I hear you. I hear you. Okay. 7, to recap, dot, dot, dot.
Yep.
Many early career professionals smile and nod. The most successful professionals repeat back what they think they heard, and in doing so, reassure others that they're listening and ensure they know what to do next. Get into the
Yep.
habit of ending conversations with this line, and you will minimize the odds of misunderstandings. I don't
Yeah.
know if you notice, but when we be talking, like prepping and stuff like that. I don't know if you noticed, but I do that. Like, so just to recap, like I always say, just to make sure we're sure. And it's the reason, and it comes so natural now because just working all the time and you working with different people on different projects. Because if y'all just doing a whole bunch of talking, and then by the time the meeting ends, it's like, oh yeah, that was a great meeting. All right, bye. Everybody hang up, and then have you ever had those moments where you're like, wait, what everybody supposed to be doing?
Mhm.
And now you're having to go back to like, wait, what were we supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
And so to recap, so I like this because I actually do this. This one is sticking out to me. And so what are your thoughts on it?
I like this too because you're able to. I had a one situation. You'll shock somebody if they think you're really not paying attention. I had this one like when I first got on the job. You know, I'm meeting all my internal partners, and one of them, I think we're meeting virtually, but I was taking notes, and I will say this too: if you're taking notes, try to be mindful. Don't just still maintain eye contact and stuff. That's probably something I could have done better. But I think towards the end, he was like, "Hey man, you busy?" Or something like that, like mid convo. He's like, "Hey man, you busy?" Or like, because he was in the middle of a monologue, and I guess he knows I was looking down a little bit, so he like, "Man, this little young dude on his phone on TikTok, huh? I'm wasting my breath." But then I said, "Oh no, I'm not busy. I'm just recapping. Just to recap, you said blah 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 blah. I didn't recap this whole monologue." He said, "Oh, I guess he was paying attention. Okay,
Yeah.
let me not try to test him again. This little young dude might be sharp." But y'all, please don't get caught slipping. Pay attention. You know what I'm saying? And like this is a really cool trick. Even if it's just something real small. So like this is just 7 and 8. Like this just works in sales. Like in sales and any other profession, like it makes people feel like you're paying attention to what they're saying. And that makes people feel really good. No one wants to feel like they just wasted their breath.
Facts. Okay. So you mentioned 8. So when would it make sense for me to check back in with you? I'm pretty sure you get that one a lot in sales. So all right, let me read it down. I'm gonna let you hit this one. Many early career professionals disappear and spend hours or sometimes days or even weeks doing the wrong work. The most successful professionals check back early and often with their manager in case they're, in your case, client, in case there was a miscommunication or change in plans. Get into the habit of ending meetings with this line, and you will minimize your chances of going off in the wrong direction or getting micromanaged. Okay.
Yeah. This is this is just a matter of maturity. I'll say maturity and controlling your business, being a self-starter. You're in control of your own business. And if, like I said, it translates to sales because you would never, when you're going through a sales process with a client, you never want to let the client control the timeline because then we'll be here all year and next year waiting on a decision. And so, of course, we don't rush clients and force them to make a decision, but they kind of appreciate it too. Like, okay, Ken, I got other things to worry about. Give me a timeline so I can know when this is going to be off my plate and I can go back to what I was doing before. And then you got to think about the same way if you're in sales, you would view this is the client. I'm controlling the timeline to get a deal. You have to view your career the same way. I guess this is kind of what the article is going at. You're not just going to do a check-in with your manager and then go AWOL for the next 2 months and then the same way you would constantly check in with a client or say, hey, set the expectation. That's what we call it. Set the expectation. And so if you want to be close to a manager and be doing one-on-ones or any of your leaders, set the expectation. Let them know that they'll respect you more for it.
Yeah. 9, this is a good one.
Yes.
Am I on the right track? Many early career professionals incorrectly assume that they're doing all the right things, only to have a rude awakening when they receive their negative performance evaluations. The most successful professionals request feedback frequently, such as after a task, project, or meeting. Get into the habit of asking this question, and you'll ensure that you're always meeting and exceeding expectations. Thoughts?
I think a lot of these fall into the category of do you care about what you're doing or not? Because a lot of this stuff
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing it and I'm like, okay, If I'm just trying to coast by and do the bare minimum, I'm not asking that. Or I might ask it, but I don't care if I'm really on the right track. But if
Yeah,
I actually care about advancing my career and if I'm doing the job correctly and getting better, yes, these are all questions that will help you decide, help you get better quickly.
facts. Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, I mean, this is stuff that I do and my career as well. 10. Is there anyone else you'd suggest? This is how you get referrals. Suggest and get introed. Is there anyone else you suggest I speak to about blank? Many early career professionals show up to meetings, listen, and leave. The most successful professionals strategically turn one conversation and relationship into two, four, and so on. Get into the habit of inserting this line into conversation, and you'll turn strangers into allies, mentors, and sponsors.
Mm, yeah. Um, I know I turn everything sales, but like you said, that's it's a big thing in sales. It should be like a chain reaction. Like if you're doing the job right, I should say, if you're providing good customer satisfaction, if you're make sure that they're taken care of, then it should not be awkward at all to pull referrals. And then to out of sales back into corporate, if you are being a good pupil, a good mentee, and you're actually making this person's day better when they speak to you because they see like I mean you tell me as someone who's older, when you speak to people that's younger on the job and you see them up and coming, do you like, wow, like they're really on it? Does that inspire you?
Yeah, it does. But it also makes me like want to help them.
Hmm. And so leverage that. I'm so back to my Gen Z people. Leverage that. You're hearing it from someone that's a millennial. They want to help us. So leverage that. If you find that you got a good relationship with somebody, yo, who else should I talk to about that? Who else
Yeah,
can help
because
me?
sometimes you'll see somebody and you like, dang, they crushing. They just need a little guidance. But like, man, if I could just help them cut down some of the time that it took me, like I don't, I'm not like I'm not ever looking at anyone like, dang, man, they gonna pass me up. Like I just don't think that way. I'm looking like,
Mhm.
shoot, man, if I can pour into you and help you get there, and sure, you got to go through the process. Everyone got to go through their go through. Everyone got to go through their process. Everyone has a journey that they need to get through, and it all is bound within this framework of time. But
Right.
if I could shave off a year or two for you or three, I want to help you do that. Like, don't go through me running through all these different walls when now I can just give you the blueprint on some levels, and then you can, and even if, like I said, if it's speeded up by a year or two, my job is done. Like, and I helped you. Like anytime I'm pouring into someone, I'm like, I got there during this time frame. Let's see if we can get you there much quicker
Right.
without jeopardizing what you need to learn, the process that you need to go through. So it's not shortcuts. Like it's not
Right.
like you trying to skip around like the hard work. That's a difference. Working,
And
working smarter, not harder.
yeah, and I'll say for people that's in entry level positions, or you're new to the job, or maybe you're stuck. You're like, you know what? I know I could get hired, but for some there's a wall I'm hitting. You might see other coworkers or peers that's like crushing it, and you're just like, yo, like they advanced and they doing X, Y, and Z. You don't even know you're witnessing the result of what two or three or four people then poured into it in terms of knowledge, like you're saying. Like that person, it's not just the fact that they're so awesome, it's the fact that they've leveraged, they might have been on the job 3 years, but now they didn't got 15 combined years of knowledge because they didn't tapped into Susie, they didn't tapped into Jake. Whereas you're just like, I know the job. I know the job description. I know what I'm doing. I've been here for a little while. You don't even know that you don't know.
And you just looking at what the part progression that they making, and you just trying to compare, but you hadn't even done what they've done. You know what I'm saying? And then you don't realize like also how mentors and sponsors have played a part into them getting there. Because when you know people, going back to the pie example, performance is the lowest one, but it's a very critical part, but it's the lowest percentage. it's the image and the exposure. And so also through that process, you're making connections where people can speak about you when you're not in the room. Even if it's one manager just talking about, oh, well, I don't know about Keon. I'm not really sure. He's not as proactive. And then you got, and that's one of, like you said, one of the other 14, a total of 15, you since you use that example, I'm just elaborating on it. The other 14 was like, oh, I said, well, that wasn't my experience with Keon. He did this. And so it kind of neutralizes what this one manager said about you. You know what I'm saying? And like if you have more people in your corner, it can neutralize what this one person has a perspective on you, and that's just their limited experience. And that's just their
Mm.
perspective. It doesn't make it wrong, but like that's how the corporate world works. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is. Like, nah, actually, maybe he had a bad month, or maybe he had a bad week or something. But like Keon, I know Keon very intimately. He is driven. Like he's done this, and this. You know what I'm saying? Like he's great. And so, like, yes, to what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, that wraps up the article. The most successful young employees always use those 10 phrases to stand out at work, says the Harvard Career Advisor. And with me doing a lot of, with me doing coaching and things like that on that front, I happen to agree with the majority of it. Like, I'm not really giving much pushback. You can always come up with the top 7 this and the top 8, top 10. But I thought that was a pretty good article. And here's the kicker. It was interesting that it said young employees, but I would stretch it just because I'm older than you. I would say that's applicable to anyone that's in the workforce and stretching it out beyond young. That's a good click title, but it's really, I would say that's applicable to anyone, young, older, et cetera, et cetera.
Anyone that's a direct report, I would say.
But the boss has a boss. So
Mm.
like you're still going through the same process, it's just at different levels, a hierarchy, but it's still the same thing that you have to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I think this was a good show, man. How you feeling about the show? Any takeaways you want to leave with the folks? Any words of encouragement? I'll let you close us out. Um, drop some gems, drop some knowledge
Nah, for sure. I
to
just
the
want to
Gen
say,
Zs out there, and then I'll close us out.
yeah, let me talk to my brothers and sisters out there. No, I just want to say I'm thankful for those that are tuning in. I'm thankful that we have this opportunity to share knowledge with people, and I'm thankful that there's people out there that view the knowledge as valuable and worth watching. So for those of you that's tuned in, we really appreciate it. I think we talked about some good topics today, and I really like the topic that we ended with. So if I was you guys, I would really take that list to heart. And like I said, anybody that, like Ken was saying, young, old, anybody that has a boss that they report to, or if they have older peers or older, more tenured people that you work with, take good advantage of that list and really focus on. And I think you touched on pie. We probably discuss that in another video, but basically performance, image, and exposure, right?
Yep.
Y'all, it's so much more than just performance. It doesn't just start. It wasn't just P. It's pie. It's a whole pie. So y'all, don't just put your head down and go to work, because it's very easy to just clock out, and once you clock out, it's over with. But like you were saying, you don't see the behind the scenes that goes on behind some of these people. You don't see that the job doesn't just go from 9 to 5 for them. Maybe the what they're getting paid for does, but 5:30 they're going to the happy hour. 8 a.m. they're texting the boss, "Good morning. You want me to grab something from Dunkin'?" You know what I'm saying? It's the little things. And so, y'all, and I think I'll recommend a book. It's a book that I'm starting too, so maybe we all can read together. But it's a book that I'm reading. It's about. It's kind of on the same topic. The little things. What are the little things you can do? Because that's what we're trying to get at. The KB Money Show. What are some of the little tweaks you can do that can help you raise your income and maybe even double it or triple it? So the book that I'm recommending, it's bad. I'm trying to recommend it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's by Malcolm Gladwell. But I think it's called The Tipping Point. But
Yeah.
what is going to help us get to the tipping point of earning 50, 60K to maybe getting to 80, 90 or 100? Or if you're at 100, what's the tipping point that's going to get you to 150? And so, Ken, what would you take us from here?
For me, mine is simple, man. What we talked about was a lot today, and Rome wasn't built overnight.
Yep.
Give yourself some grace. Like, what maybe you already are pushing. You like, all right, Keon, KB, I hear you. But like, I'm already doing a lot. Okay, great. Keep doing that and just give yourself time. Like allowing yourself to mature and maturate into your process to where stay in your process long enough. So because the results is a lagging indicator. You got to
Yep.
do the work first. You got to have an input before an output. You have to plant a seed before it grows. And when you plant a seed in a tree, or you plant a seed and you're waiting for the flower, you don't plant it today and you're like, man, where the flower at? Like what? Like, it takes time. So just keep planting it. And then the watering it is getting up every single day with a positive mental attitude. And heck, even the days you don't feel good, you still keep getting up one day at a time. And that's the watering of what you said that you wanted. And then before you know it, you will have a plant. And then before that, you'll notice you will have a whole row of plants. And then what they call that is being fruitful. And then you will have people looking at you like, man, I got to get with, I want some of that. Can you teach me? And so a lot of times people just talking, but a lot of time, if you just be a living example, and then people start seeing the fruits, people will sometimes gravitate to you, and that's the opportunity because you said, I don't share unless they ask me. Well, sometimes it's in those scenarios, but like, so stay encouraged, no matter what, keep moving forward. We all make mistakes. I'm not speaking as if I'm like up here. I'm like y'all. I make mistakes. I learn from them. I get better. I don't let it keep me down. Yeah, I may have a day or two where I'm like, man, dang, I wish I would have did it. But like, I wish I would have don't translate to the now because when you're looking at what happened, it's already not happened. There's no point in like overly focusing on it. Take the learning lessons, keep moving forward, and just never quit. I think this is another episode in the books, KB Money Show, where we help you build your net worth $1 at a time. Into the next one. Peace. We'll catch y'all later.